Hey, good people, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. We got to talk about training camp because now football is back. I know it's been a lull over the weekends. I know it's been a lull during the week without football talk. Basketball's done, but we got the USA team back. But training camp is back. I got some bold predictions for you guys. We're going to talk about what's going to happen this season for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, what's up? It's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I want to thank everybody on YouTube who's joining us. I want to thank all those that are on Roku, Amazon Fire, whatever your device is. If you're on the SXM app, I want to thank you guys. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Football's back now. So when training camp is full go and teams are in town and preseason games are starting, we're going to be right back to it, people. Live, long, hard. We're going to make sure we give you all the updated training camp notes you need. But I'm Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I just want everybody to know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Now, as the playoffs wind down, we know the sports stop sporting like we want them to. FanDuel this summer is hooking all their customers up with a boost or a bonus daily. That's every single day. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. And think about that. Every day you jump on, every single day you jump on the app, you're going to have a boost or a bonus. You can use that to bet on what the USA team, whatever you want to bet on. Twins, you can bet on something with a little boost or a bonus. Why not do that? Why play with your money when you can play with their money? Again, just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on. Well, as I bring my producer to the show, Sam Ekstrom, training camp is back. I see, I don't know, Sam, if you follow a lot of Vikings or former Vikings, you've Adam Thielen, so on and so forth. And we'll talk about that coming up later. But all the families, I saw CJ Ham just celebrated a birthday party. All the families are sending their husbands off to training camp. And it's almost like it's hilarious to me now because I get it. I understand it. You're without your husband for a couple days. For the Vikings guys, they get to go home. So you just don't have them at night. It's almost like sometimes they want to do the send-off like they're going to the Army or something. Like, it's like he's going to training camp. I know it's dangerous. It's a dangerous sport. Anything can happen. Guys can get hurt, seriously hurt. You don't have them at home every day. But it's just like a husband taking a flight for work. Like, it doesn't need to be a big send-off. But I get it. So Adam Thielen is entering his 12th year heading into training camp. CJ Ham as well, a vet. You saw Stephon Diggs. So you see all these people heading to training camp. You see the Chiefs posting videos. And when you start seeing that, quarterbacks falling down the ramp. Carson Wentz, by the way, he slipped and fell. First thing the quarterback said, we got to post that on social media. Every time
that was good.
Every time you see those, you're like, man, we're one step closer to football being back. And so as we talk about this Vikings training camp, their first practice is Wednesday. And when you think about practice on Wednesday for them, the first thing everybody's going to want to see is what do the ones look like? Who's with the ones? We know the line pretty much. We know it's Sam Darnold. We know it's JJ, but where's Jordan Addison? What are they going to do with that situation? Where is running back 2, 3, and 4? All that kind of stuff. Who is getting that? Because we're guessing Aaron Jones is 1, but who's 2, 3, and 4 now? When you look at tight end, we know we just saw they put TJ on the PUP list. So with that, who's and Najee Thompson too. I don't know what's going on there, but he's on the PUP list as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
But when you look at that, now who's tight end 1? Is it Tunyon? Is it Johnny Munt? Is it the guy we write? Is it just Oliver?
Josh Oliver.
That's what we want to see. So this is when it becomes fun because you get to kind of see it. My guess is we're not going to see a ton on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to see a lot of slow walk, There's a lot of install, a lot of basic stuff, hitches, slants, go routes. One-on-ones are going to be don't touch my guy. Don't touch Justin Jefferson. We're going to see a lot of that. But now, one-on-ones, though, how does J.J. McCarthy look? How does he look when he finally puts on shoulder pads? Because, again, with shorts and jerseys and they're just throwing the ball around, I don't care about that. That's like 7-on-7. That's like flag football. Anybody can do it. There's no stress of the shoulder pad, and there's no stress of somebody might take my head off. But when they put those pads on, and when it's ready to go, I want to see how this offense line, but I also want to see that. I want to see J.J. McCarthy. But then again, on the defensive side, are they flying around? We know Brian Flores is not going to show a ton because he doesn't want to put it out on film. We know the media is going to have restrictions on what they can film, but we know the fans always get away with it anyway. And they get to post stuff and be the first to post it, and then the media has to ask, can I have that for free? Can we have access to that footage for free so we can air it on our socials? Which is so ridiculous. Like, if you're going to stop filming, stop the fans too. Because if you're not stopping the fans, why are you stopping the media who's there to support you as well? Never made sense to me, but I get it. But when you talk about bold predictions for this camp, Sam, I know you've already done it, so I'm going to let you jump out there first. What are your bold predictions for training camp?
And this is kind of based on the comments yesterday from KOC, but I think J.J. McCarthy is going to make at least a run at the starting job. We're going to see him with the ones more than we expected. Yesterday, I felt like the tone changed a little bit from KOC. I thought that he was more open to a real quarterback competition. I thought that in the spring, the stuff he said was very pro Darnold. Darnold is our guy. And I thought yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, but he said, I'm not really set in stone with the depth chart yet. Like, we're going to let it play out. And it sounds like Darnold will start with the ones, but McCarthy might join him at some point. So I think there might be more of a battle than we expected. What do you think about that?
Oh, so I was going to say something like I don't know. So this is the thing. One, it's your first round draft pick, number 11 overall. I think, right? 11 is where he was, or 10?
10,
or
the top 10.
10.
Yep. They traded up from 11 to 10.
To 10. So top 10 pick. If you don't have him as the number 2 by the end of training camp, you look foolish. You look absolutely foolish, because that goes, and again, Kellen Mond wasn't, like, he was what, 4th round pick. But the fact that Kellen Mond never cracked the 2, never cracked the fact that, like, he might be the, like, that was a complete fail. And so you have to keep that in mind. When you draft a guy that high, most of the time, you're drafting a guy that high to be your starter. Like, top 10 quarterbacks are usually coming in to start and change the franchise. Now, we know this is not the case this year for the Falcons, because they already have Kirk Cousins. Unless Kirk Cousins is not 100% ready to go by week 1, it's going to be a Penix show. But with J.J. McCarthy, I think you have to give him reps with the ones. And this is the reason why. 1, you want to see what you have. 2, if anything happens with Sam Darnold, he has to have familiarity with this offense with the ones. Like, they have to understand, because every quarterback has a different cadence. We know that. Now, coaches try to give the quarterbacks their cadence that they think they should have, whether it's set up or set up, like whatever it is, they all try. Sunday, set up. And if we go back and listen to Mullins, Dobbs, and Cousins, I'm guessing they were close to the same cadence. Like, I'm guessing KOC probably got them on the same, because what people don't understand is sometimes the quarterbacks are just standing around and training camp off to the side. People are like, what the heck are they over there doing? They're getting their verbal cadence down. They're working together, so they're all like, they have the starter do it because he's the one that does it the most, and then the backups and the third guys have to do it at that cadence as well. So if it's, because you can't have one guy come in and say, set up, and the next guy is set up, or set hut, because what you want is the offensive line to always be ready. Set, all right, we got to go, or set, go. Like, they gotta know, because they have to have that edge. That's why defensive linemen cheat. That's why you change the snap up and go on 2. You have to give the offense an edge, and the cadence is one of them. That's why Peyton Manning went on a silent count, because then there's nothing to identify. Like, people thought, Omaha that wasn't it. Omaha was just saying, all right, I'm ready. And then he would lift the leg up, and then it was on you, which means I'm ready. You snap it whenever you're ready. And that's why centers look under, And then the minute the quarterback lifts the leg up, they look up and then they blind snap it. One, now they're not snapping it and they're coming up and they're losing their guy. Their heads up, snap, and now they're ready to block. They can talk through everything, blah, blah. Hit this guy here, you got there. I'm helping you. That's one thing. So J.J. McCarthy has to have familiarity with the offense and the cadence and the offensive line. And so when we go like training camp or preseason game number 1 or 2, especially 3, because 3 is going to be a lot of J.J. McCarthy, I'm guessing, unless they're like, hey, look, we already seen enough. Let's put the other guys in because we need to know who's 3, if it's Nick Mullins or who is it going to be. And my guess is Nick Mullins, or unless they cut and trade him or something of that respect. But I think that I'm okay with that. My bold prediction, and I like that one. I do like Nick Mullins, or no, sorry, J.J. McCarthy might push him. My bold prediction for this one, and this is tough for me, but I think, and I don't know if this is bold. I don't know how much, but I think, and I know, and maybe just training camp, but I'm going to go for the season. I think Josh Metellus is a Pro Bowler. I think Josh Metellus,
nice.
Like people have talked about him enough now. Like Brian Flores brings up the linebacker level for him. He's commented, "Oh, we have great linebackers. I'm not down there to help them. I'm down or to take over for them. I'm there to make them better, and they're going to make me better." I think Josh Metellus gets a nod for Pro Bowl. I don't know how, because we already know like PFF says he doesn't line up at the safety position enough. But when you look at what Antoine Winfield did and how he's the number 1 safety by everybody's standard right now, I think Josh Metellus makes the Pro Bowl. That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, what position is he? Is he a slot? Is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? We don't really know, but he's an everyman. He's a Swiss Army knife, utility player. That's a good one. I mean, the Vikings have, 3 safeties that you could argue could be Pro Bowl caliber with Harrison, Cam Bynum, Josh Metellus. I think they're all right at that level. That's how good the safety position is. That's how much Brian Flores values that in this difference. That's a really good one, Ron. I think it's often delayed a year. So last year, Metellus played at a Pro Bowl level a lot of the time.
Correct.
Sometimes they don't get the recognition until the following year. So if he can back it up and play the way he did, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, when you think about where Josh Metellus was last year, how if he was just a safety, so if they just made him just a safety with those stats, because who cares where he lines up? He's a safety. That's what's dumb to me. Like, just because a receiver lines up at tight end doesn't mean he's not a receiver. He's still a receiver. He's just lining up in the tight end spot. Like, he's 1 by 1 off the tight end. Still a receiver. By line, if Justin Jefferson lines up in the backfield, it doesn't say he caught a touchdown as a running back. Like, we know we've seen him back there. We've seen Jordan Addison in the backfield. He doesn't get a touchdown as a running back. It doesn't say he lined up at running back. It says he's a receiver that lined up in the backfield. So that's why that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, is he didn't line up in the safety spot. He's a safety. He's not a linebacker. He's not a DN. He's not a nickel cornerback. He's a safety that just can play anywhere, which I would say is even better. That's like having LeBron James, or no, not LeBron. LeBron can't play I guess he could play the point, but like Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum could play the 2. He could play the point if you need him to. He could play your 3. Like, but Jason Tatum is still listed as a small forward. He's still on the Olympic team as a small forward. Can he play the 2? Yeah. Can Paul George play the 2? Yeah. It's an advantage. Kevin Durant, one of the biggest advantages in the world. What is he? We don't know. Is he a guard? Is he a true forward? Because he doesn't play the forward position like a forward. So why is Josh Metellus being knocked? Because he can play anywhere and lines up everywhere. Like that to me is 100% stupidity when you think about receivers that line up in the backfield, because it happens a lot. Stephon Diggs does it. Justin Jefferson, Tay Adams does it. Who's the other guy? Tyreek Hill does it. Tyreek Hill. So there's the thing. Tyreek Hill was going for 2,000 yards. He was in the backfield, caught a couple swing passes. Do those not go to his receiving record? Or is that, you only got like 1,500 as a receiver. You got another 300 as a running back. Like, what are we doing? Like, when a receiver runs a reverse and it's a run play, it's receiving running yards. If a receiver lines up in the backfield and gets the handoff, it's receiver running right. Deebo Samuel didn't get like, oh, you're not a receiver. You're not one of the best receivers in the league. No, you're a receiver that can just play everywhere. So why is Josh Metellus getting knocked? So that's just my thought. I'm not going to rant too much more on that because I can go all day. That, like, I think about all the guys that play multiple positions as their position, and they're just considered great. Gronk, Travis Kelce, when they line up out wide, way out wide, are they receivers? Are they tight ends? They're tight ends that can line up a receiver. So Josh Metellus is a safety that's strong enough and big enough to play in the box. He's a safety that's athletic enough to cover the running backs and cover the tight ends in the slot. He can cover receivers if he has to down the seam, and we saw that when he got the interception against the Packers. So stop with the BS. Josh Metellus, I think, is going to be a Pro Bowler. He should be. If he's not again, we need to wear Josh Metellus for Pro Bowl T-shirts, or we need to say, Pro Bowl voting sucks. Like, you guys are dumb. Because we do know fan votes count. That's one of the big things of it. And I think he has enough fan support in Minnesota now for sure.
Yeah.
It becomes nationally. Like, I know Peter Schrager, I think he's a Minnesota guy or likes the Vikings. Right? Is it Schrager who likes the Vikings? Or is it Peter Schrager, or is it I know Jamie Ertl does.
Yeah, she's Minnesotan. Yep.
Jamie Ertl does.
Kyle Brandt, I think he's a Bears fan, but he was a big Kirk Cousins
he was
guy.
Kirk Cousins guy. That's what it was. It was Kyle Brandt, but he was a Kirk Cousins guy. It wasn't Peter Schrager. Schrager has covered, because I met him at a Vikings game. He's covered some sideline stuff before for the NFL. I forgot what network we were on, and he was on the sideline, because I was like, why are you here? And then I was like, oh, I didn't realize he's a sideline reporter. Yeah. But yeah, it's, when you think about it, they can get some support. And Josh Metellus went on Good Morning Football. So maybe now they'll support their guy a little bit, and he came out to them. Maybe maybe they'll show a little love to him. But the big thing about that is that's my bro prediction. He makes the Pro Bowl. Any other quick one, Sam, before we jump into the next topic? We are going to.
Let's keep doing this. Let's do another segment of the bold predictions. What do you say?
Okay, let's do it. Well, all right. So we are going to make a couple more bold predictions, because why not? It's football. Football's back. I mean, that's what we've all been waiting for. We've all been waiting for this football to come back. So we're going to make some bold predictions. Also, coming up, we got the daily 3. That's 3 questions. We're going to spend about a minute each on them today. 3 minutes each on them today. Got a little bit more time. And so we'll do all that after a word from our sponsors.
We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Ron loves sports. I love sports. We want to have all the sports. Right now, we've only got a little bit of sports. We've got Major League Baseball, Olympics coming up. We've had Summer League. We've had Team USA exhibition games. But you know what? It's still fun, because the way FanDuel operates, they're hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. That could include the 3M Open coming to Blaine this week on the PGA Tour. Go see some of the best golf in the world out in Blaine. Also, I've got my favorite bet for the NFL offseason. Right now, Justin Jefferson, regular season receiving yards leader, plus 850. Plus 850 for JJ to lead the league in receiving. You can bet 100, win 850. Yeah, I'm taking that bet every single time. Great value at FanDuel. Get a boost, get a bonus, make every moment more. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Well, now it's time for segment 2, Sam. We're going to jump back into this training camp bold predictions. And so when you think about bold predictions for the season, training camp, and so on and so forth, I'm gonna jump out there, Sam. And again, JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's never had a coach of KOC's caliber. And think about what KOC did with Josh Dobbs early on in that couple weeks. Now, I don't know if Josh Dobbs got figured out or he just couldn't grasp the offense. But I feel like Sam Darnold's smart. He was a top 5 pick. He was a great college quarterback. He's never had what KOC unlocked Kirk Cousins. We know that. He opened something up in Kirk Cousins' brain. He opened up something in Kirk Cousins' body. The way he attacked football, it was just KOC was a great QB whisperer. He played the quarterback position, so he knows it. There's probably things he saw from Tom Brady that he's like, look, do this, do this, do this. It's probably things he saw on the bench, if I could do this, I would have done this. And we know backups tend to be really good coaches, and they tend to be coaches. That's what usually happens with backups, because they're around it the most and they get the most information all game, because they're able to hear the quarterback call. They're able to see the play happen. They just can't make it happen themselves. I'm going to go with, in the first 3 weeks of the season, and maybe – so this is a tough thing about the first 3 weeks of the season. This is a tough damn schedule. If it was an easier schedule, I would – but I'm still going to say this. I would say in the first 3 weeks of the season, Sam Darnold lights it up. Like in the first 3 weeks of the season, Sam Darnold plays at a clip that everybody's like, whoa, okay, this KLC guy is good. And Justin Jefferson starts out fast. Like Justin Jefferson starts out fast to the point where everybody's like, okay, 2,000 yards is in sight. Like, I think that's my bold prediction. Sam Darnold early on. And now, again, people are going to figure him out. They're going to figure out what his tendencies are, but they have no idea what they're getting out of Sam Darnold. So I think Sam Darnold with KLC, he can sling the ball. He can throw it. He can spin it. He's going to light it up in the first 3 games. Like, he's going to light up the first 3 games, and Justin Jefferson's going to love it. And he's going to be like, wow, like 2,000 is in sight. That's my bold prediction for Sam Darnold. But that's in 3 weeks. I'm not saying the whole season, people, because I don't want people to come back like, oh, he only had 3,000 yards. What happened against the Lions? I'm talking about the first 3 weeks of teams have not seen anything KLC's put out there yet with this quarterback and this, whatever he's added to the offense, because he can't do everything he did before because Kirk Cousins knows a lot of it. So he has to change it a little bit. We know that when guys leave that are integral parts of your offense, the coach did this all the time. When the player would leave, when the coach would leave, Peyton Manning would do that. He would flip it a little bit. Not much, but he would change it just a little bit. Words, verbiage, certain things. I think KLC is going to come out and Sam Darnold is going to light up the first 3 weeks. I don't know. What is your bold prediction?
So that'd be Giants, 49ers, Texans, those first 3 games.
Yep. And I don't know about the 49ers, but we do know Kirk Cousins lit the 49ers up last year. The 49ers, we saw them on Netflix. They got some
Super Bowl hangover.
They got some explaining to do. Right.
Hangover.
Yeah.
Catch them early in the season. That's good. Bold prediction. Andrew Van Ginkel is not 100%. He's going to have to be eased into camp off of an injury. I think it was a Liz Frank injury, foot issue. I think Dallas Turner becomes your number 2 edge rusher. And I think Van Ginkel plays a ton still, but I think Turner ends up being your number 2. I think that he and Grenard are your 1-2 punch. Van Ginkel, in passing downs, probably have all 3 of them on the field. But I think Turner becomes your guy. I think there's a definite path there.
I like that. I mean, again, another first round pick. I kind of talked about it. Reminds me a little bit of the Terrell Suggs addition to the Baltimore Ravens. They traded. They got Kyle Bowler, as well as Terrell Suggs in the same year. When they went and got Suggs, he was 6'2"-ish, 6'3", 248. I think was his draft numbers, 255, maybe 248. 248 for some reason, numbers in my head. So I feel like when he was drafted, he was 248 pounds. I don't know. Maybe it's because he wore number 48, because I know he wore 48 in college and then switched to 55. But and I think he did, because I'm a numbers guy. Like, certain numbers just stick in my head and they never go away. But when you think about that, with the way Terrell Suggs came in for the Baltimore Ravens, defense was already pretty decent. Pretty good defense. My rookie year, they held together, and that's why the next year with Suggs, we ended up winning the NFC North or AFC North. But defense was pretty good, not great, but good. You had Ray Lewis, you had Ed Reed, but then they added Suggs, and it added and Bart Scott started playing a little bit more. It just added a different level of an ability to get up to the quarterback, and they went from a 4-3, because I know Ray Lewis was like, yeah, we got a 4-3. Goose and Sam Adams are going to protect me. And they went to a 3-4. He wasn't happy, because in the 3-4, the middle linebacker is not protected. He's not covered up. The guards and the centers can get to that linebacker. And Ray wasn't 100% bought in until he saw what a 5-2 looked like, which is, we're going to kick, like Suggs was not a outside linebacker. He wasn't dropping back into coverage. He was a rush in. And basically what they wanted to do was send him and Pete Boware off the edge. Like, Pete Boware was an outside rush edge linebacker as well, but in the 4-3, they made him a wheel, and he just weak side rushed all the time, which was still a 5-2. Well, they got to it a different way in the 3-4. They got Lodi Nada. They also got Anthony Weaver out of Notre Dame, who came in with me, and they put big guys back in the middle, and Ray Lewis loved it. And so I think that's what's going to happen with Dallas Turner. Like, he's going to come in and be a true just get after the quarterback guy, but he is a better get back into coverage guy than what Danielle Hunter was. Now, he's not going to be a get up to the quarterback guy that Danielle, but he's going to get back into coverage better. Like, he can drop a little bit better. But at Alabama, he was a rush. He rushed a lot. And so I could see that. I like that. I like that one. Here's another one for me. I think early on, and this is all early, people are going to talk about KLC for Coach of the Year. Because if he can do it with Sam Darnold early, and it's early in the year, they're going to say, man, this is KOC. This is not Kirk Cousins. And think about early in the year, though, with Kirk Cousins last year. Did they lose the first 3 games?
Yes.
So that's my point. So when you think about that, last year they lost the first 3. Now, again, when we look at the setup, the way that the teams are set up, it could happen again. But I don't think so. I think, like you said, I think there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. I think the Texans are going to come in Minnesota and get shocked. The Vikings might start off 3-0 to start the season. Like they could start off 3-0. Like it's a tough start, but they could start off 3-0. And then the Jets. They got the Jets in London. London is it. The Vikings are undefeated in London. Like the Vikings might start off and shock everybody with where they're at because nothing's really, and Justin Jefferson's healthy. You have a healthy JJ and a healthy quarterback that knows what he's doing. Give it to me. Vikings might start off hot. KOC in the running for coach of the year early on. Early on talks of KOC could be coach of the year. Now, Justin Jefferson's not up for comeback player of the year though, right? Because he didn't really have to come back, right?
Great question. I wonder if FanDuel has the odds on that because he was 1,000-yard receiver, right? So it's not like he didn't do anything last year. So right. I'm guessing not. Usually that's reserved for guys that coming off an ACL, coming off an Achilles. Kirk maybe could win it because he missed the final 9 games of the season.
Right.
It's a very good question. Let's see. Season awards, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. So the candidates, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers probably a big one.
If he stays healthy, yeah.
Kirk Cousins, though, is 3rd at +600. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah. Anthony Richardson. I forgot about that
Nick Chubb, Daniel Jones. Let me see if Darnold is on the list. Darnold and Hawkinson. Hawkinson is on there, which he's coming off an ACL. He would
tough
have
for tight end to get it, though. Tight end would have to get a ton. And he's still not healthy. Like, he's still not back. He's on the PUP list.
Jefferson's not listed.
Sam Darnold for comeback player of the year.
+6,000.
Okay. He would have to, I don't see, that's the thing about, comeback player of the year. It's going to be somebody that goes deep in the, not deep in the playoffs, but, either about to win their conference or has a chance to go deep in the playoffs. Because usually it's a guy that comes back and, has a great, Joe Flacco. And didn't Joe Flacco lose? Did he lose it or did he end up winning it over, that died and then got revived? Damar
Hamlin. Something tells me that Hamlin didn't win, but let me check. That's a good question because Flacco did much more on the field, and it was Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
yep.
And so when you think about Joe Flacco, and it was Joe Flacco now because I remember the jokes because somebody was like, the Browns suck when the quarterback that leads the Browns ends up winning comeback player of the year because somebody died and came back. And they're like, man, you see what you did with the Browns? That's even better than that. I was like, man, y'all are going too far with these jokes. But they're like, the Browns are terrible when, that whole organization is just destitute when you can't out, a guy that died and came back to life can't outshine the Browns actually making a run. But when you look at what this is set up for Sam Darnold, he would have to probably either beat the Lions and win the NFC North or be right behind, both teams have to be, 12-5 and 11-6. And they're getting the top wild card spot for the Vikings. And then they have to win a playoff game. I think that's how he can win comeback player of the year. He has to win a playoff game. But yeah, that's going to be tough to Sam Darnold. But I'm going to stick with that. I think he's going to light it up early, though. And I think KOC's mental side of it, he gets Sam Darnold going early, he's going to be up for coach of the year. And people are going to be talking about that, how much of a QB whisperer he is. Do you have any others?
I keep tossing around in my head whether the Vikings will make a last-minute trade, either for a corner, either for a wide receiver. I think did I put this in the daily 3?
You did.
Adam Thielen. Maybe let's hold on to the Adam Thielen bit for the daily 3 because that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, coming up next. We got the daily 3. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each, and we'll do that after a word from our sponsors and then a short pause. So I want everybody to know SiriusXM is a proud partner of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Just make sure you download the SXM app. Make sure you download the SXM app. Just search XXM, SiriusXM, either one, and you'll see the app. Download it right to your device. When you download it, it'll log you right in through your email address with your device. Then you can find any show you want that's on SiriusXM. But you can also get Locked On Sports. Just search Locked On Sports Minnesota. You'll get all of our shows right there on your phone. But you can also get the Twins hometown broadcast. So make sure you do that as well. If you're a Twins fan, all you have to do is search Twins, and you'll get the Twins hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. And make sure you check out our postcast because football games are coming, people. And we do a postcast after every single Vikings game on YouTube live, following every Twins, Vikings, Wild, or Wolves game. Our Locked On team hosts are broadcasting live with team insiders. Never miss a postcast by subscribing to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube. You just need the email address. Hit subscribe when you get the YouTube on your phone. Just hit subscribe, and it'll put you right there. You'll get updates every time we go live right after a game. Well, after a short pause, we'll be back, and then we'll do the Daily 3. Well, now it's time for the Daily 3, Sam, and Sam leads the way for this one. So 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Take it away.
All right, we got a juicy Adam Thielen talker in just a moment, but first I'm going to ask you about Wolves' first-round pick, Rob Dillingham, in the Summer League finale, goes for 25 points, 12 assists in a victory. Wolves finished 4-1 in Summer League, and Dillingham, who was off to a slow start, ends with a bang. I don't know if you saw the highlights, Ron, but your impressions of the way Rob Dillingham looked in that last game.
Yeah, and so when you look at Rob Dillingham, I did check him out a little bit, but I've been seeing it on Twitter, of course, because everybody's talking about it, and you know, all the Minnesota fans are super excited for him now, and the Timberwolves fans are excited for him. But here's the thing. Minnesota last year had that too. They had guys every once in a while that would give you, 20 points, 23 points. Naz Reid with the ridiculous night. I think he made, 6 straight three-pointers or something? Mm-hmm. But Rob Dillingham, first play, kind of the crossover, step back, hits the 3. Again, speedy, quick, next one, goes around the pick, dishes off. His ability to see the guy. Now, again, this is Summer League, so we have to calm down a little bit because some of these guys guarding them are going to be the wraparound pass. So I don't know if you saw that one. That was crazy. But some of these guys are not going to be in the league at all. Like, they're not even going to be G League guys. They're not going to be two-way contract guys. They're just going to be gone out the league. And so the level of defense is going to pick up for sure when the regular season starts. We know that. But I like the way his eyes are always up. His eyes are always, and again, basketball is one of those things where, like any sport, basketball is one of those things. And then the oop, like he was going for the layup, oop, throw it across the rim. Just seeing it, like his eyes, the vision to see some of these passes he made. When you think about who he's going to play with, Cat, Rudy, like I would love to see him because like watch him at the top of the key now with the pick. Kind of hits a weird 3, gets hit on top of the head, but watch him at the top of the key with the pick. He handles the ball like it's on a string, and they haven't had a point guard like that. Mike Conley is not quick. This guy is quick. He's fast. He protects the ball. He's aggressive. Like when he's in the pick and roll, he can split defenders, and he has a really soft touch off the backboard. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. So, watching these highlights, like I said, I saw some of them, but I think this kid gives you an additional off the bench guy that when Mike Conley's tired, he can go in and be a scorer. But also now, when he splits defenders like he's doing, when he's drawing 2, if this happens, again, this is going to be a different league when you go to actual league play. But now Anthony Edwards is not saying they're not going to ever leave Anthony Edwards wide open, but somebody's going to be open. Because he's gonna when he drives, you're gonna have a guy. So if you have a Cat, Nas, Anthony Edwards, Rob Dillingham, and let's say Jaden McDaniels, 5 on the court, got a lot of shooters on the court with Rob Dillingham. And then you have a guy now that when he drives, Cat's not under the like Rudy Gobert. Cat's out trying to shoot the jumper. So if you give him a lane, he's gonna score. He can take a guy one-on-one, and I think I'm excited to see this. I don't know, Sam. What did you think?
Yeah, when they drafted him, people were saying, well, he can score, but he can't pass. And that seems to not be true. It seems like he can pass really well. The ball handling is unbelievable. And no issue for him getting his shot off. Despite his size, he jumps really high when he shoots. Very clean release from 3. He can kind of hook it up when he's at the rim. He can avoid shot blockers. I think that he's got a lot going for him right now. So I still don't know if he can defend at a high level, but his effort is unquestionable. So I'm very excited to see what we saw early from Shannon and late from Dillingham. I think that was a really successful summer league, and the team, they all just looked really good. I mean, the team was successful, which is pretty fun to see. So bright future for the Wolves youngsters as we pivot to an old guy, a veteran, Adam Thielen. There are rumors right now, and nothing more than rumors, Ron. Schefter's not tweeting it out or anything, but people have speculated that with Adam in Carolina, Carolina's kind of a team that they're not really prepared to win this year. Could they trade Thielen? Could they cut Thielen? Could Thielen be reunited with Minnesota? And if he was, Ron, if Adam Thielen did come back to Minnesota, where would he sit in the pecking order in your mind? Would he be the wide receiver 2? Would he be the wide receiver 3? Would he have to, battle to get snaps? Well, where would Thielen be on this depth chart?
So my heart wants to say 2. Also, Jordan Addison's off the field issues. I think that's going to knock him down a little bit just for a while, just because you have to. You can't just let a guy do that after somebody else was killed and then just not do anything about it. But when you look at the Vikings depth chart, of course, we don't have one yet because it's not official. Nothing's come up yet. You don't officially get the depth chart until, training camp starts. But the quote unquote, here's what they think the depth chart is going to look like, Sam. You got Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and then Brandon Powell. I could easily see, and then you got TJ Hockenson, the tight end. You got CJ Ham at fullback. You got Christian Darrisaw, Dalton Reisner, Garrett Bradbury, Ed Ingram, Brian O'Neill. I could easily see them changing that. I could easily see Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen being 3, because Brandon Powell is a gimmick guy to me. Adam Thielen gives you a true Jake Reed and not to say he's that, but Jake Reed to the Randy Moss, Chris Carter show, because we know Jordan Addison can be a receiver 1. We saw that when Justin Jefferson got hurt. So I can see Adam Thielen easily moving into 3. 2, if it were Kirk Cousins, I would say he'd be 2 because Kirk loved Adam Thielen and he would feed him the ball just as much as he would Justin Jefferson. And that was probably part of the issue why Adam Thielen wanted to leave. And also probably why it was getting weird because they were saying, look, you got to throw to Justin Jefferson, man. He's better. Get the ball to Justin. And that's what Thielen's like, all right, I'm out of here. But now your options are catch 700-800 yards. Red zone, you probably kill it because Justin Jefferson's going to have a ton of eyes on him especially after the Netflix special. Jordan Addison's not really a red zone guy. Adam Thielen is legit 6'2", 6'3". He has a nice vertical, still can run. I can see Adam Thielen in the red zone having 8 touchdowns. So I would say, why not do 8 touchdowns, 800 yards with the Vikings versus being over here with, because Aaron Jones, we know he's going to run the ball with Aaron Jones, but we know Aaron Jones is used to throwing the ball a ton with the Packers. So he's okay with if a game gets out of, not out of hand, but it gets one of those shootouts. He's okay with playing his role because he did it with the Packers, which I think that's why you go get a guy who's used to that type of offense where Dalvin Cook was a jitterbug guy to get going, but Alexander Mattison needed carries to get going. I said this all year, Tyson Chandler, he was okay with a couple carries and he was going to give you some explosion. Alexander Mattison had to feel the game before he got going. Dalvin Cook wasn't. Dalvin Cook was lightning in the bottle. Aaron Jones just understands how to get going. So I can see him being 2. I also could see it happening because I could why would you want to stay with the Panthers? And they I don't think Bryce Young is the answer, but who knows? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's ultimately up to the Panthers, but I think this happens next year, Ron. I think we're 1 year away. I think that the Panthers still want a good receiver room around Bryce Young. They want to see if they can make it work. Thielen was their best guy last year. I don't think it makes sense for Carolina to mail it in. There's also a lot of dead money on that contract from what I've seen. Next year, Thielen's going into the last year of his deal. I think it makes sense. I'm saying my bold prediction is 2025, the Vikings make this. Either they make the deal or the Panthers cut him and he comes to Minnesota. It will happen next year.
And here's this, Sam. Here's another depth chart out there defensively. A little Omaha real quick. Omaha, we got a little time. Here's what the Vikings defensive 3-4 starters look like right now. Jerry Tillery, Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Bullard, Jonathan Grenard, Ivan Pace Jr., Blake Cashman, Dallas Turner, and that's because they have Andrew Van Ginkel here is questionable. Byron Murphy Jr., Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, Shaquille Griffin, and then Josh Metellus as a nickelback. What do you think about that one?
I think that Jerry Tillery or Jonathan Bullard could be usurped by someone surprising. There's not that defensive line lacks some star power in the middle. I think there's room for someone to shock the world, to step up, and Jaquelin Roy, the draft pick Levi Drake Rodriguez. I think there's room for something like that. I just don't know if I trust Tillery and Bullard as the starters. I think those are the guys that could get knocked off. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, because we have to remember too is Tillery was a first-round draft pick out of Notre Dame. So he was a first-round pick in 2019. That was a while ago, but he was a first-round pick for a reason. He was a dominant college player. He was a guy that's been a starter in the league. The one, like, I'm interested as to Caleb Evans versus Shaquille Griffin. Like, I thought that Caleb Evans would have it, but right now, I mean, again, this is just quote unquote. This is ESPN's, by the way. So, we know they do ask around and they do try to get some feelers from teams, and they do try to, hey, we're just doing an article for our site, man. Can you give us a little insight to what training camp's gonna look like on day one? So I'm pretty sure they got something from the Vikings. So it's interesting to see they got Shaquille Griffin over Caleb Evans. But I'm interested to see what that looks like during camp. That's one I'm gonna keep an eye on, is like who is at that right cornerback spot. We know Byron Murphy has his spot locked down, but looking at this too, I do see, like, now looking at a Caleb Evans, Shaquille Griffin, Jalen Williams, Andrew Booth Jr., Mekhi Blackman, because I keep forgetting about Mekhi Blackman. Najee Thompson's out. So this is updated. Like, this is updated as of today, because they have Najee Thompson out, which means he wouldn't have been out before. So this is they definitely updated this. They also TJ Hawkinson out as well. Josh Oliver is actually, so I forgot to read that. I read that wrong. It's Josh Oliver right now. So Josh Oliver, Robert Tonyan, Johnny Munt is how they have it. So that'll be interesting to see as well. But it's always cool to kind of see what the world thinks, because it usually is kind of close. Like, and not the world, sorry, ESPN, because it's kind of close, because we know these coaches and stuff kind of know, like, hey, we gotta feed them a little bit. Let's give Adam Schefter some notes. Let's get, we gotta feed them a little bit so they'll cover us. So there's a little truth to this, but I could see what you said earlier. You brought up the trading for a cornerback or signing one, but I could see it now, because looking at this list of corners, not sure. Also, Lewis Seen. People talk about Lewis Seen, like maybe they trade or cut him because how long do they hold on to him? And is he, because you got Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, and you also have Josh Metellus. They also have AJ Green the third as a nickelback as well, behind Josh Metellus. So maybe he's going to be playing that third safety nickel spot behind Josh Metellus. But right now, having 5-6 safeties, I don't know if they're going to do that again. I just don't feel like they would do that again. They did it last year. Lewis Seen didn't really help them out much. No. I don't know if they go with that again. Last question. What you got?
Yeah. Team USA finished the exhibition season 5-0, but in their last 2 games before the Olympics, they had to come back late to beat South Sudan. 101-100. LeBron James with the last-minute heroics in that game. And then again yesterday against a much better Germany team. LeBron again saved them, 92-88. Team USA with a couple wins by the skin of their teeth. Does that raise any concerns for you, Ron, about their chances to win gold?
A little bit, because the teams are going to get better as it goes down closer to the finals. When it goes to the medal games, it's going to get better. You're going to have the best of the best out there. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to have NBA guys on it now, because the way they do this, most of these NBA guys enjoy playing for their country, and they want to knock off Team USA. I mean, they play in the USA for NBA, but to come back and say, man, we knocked off the Dream Team 4 or whatever they want to call themselves now, or the Redeem Team, or I don't know what they're calling themselves. I think Redeem Team was already taken. So I don't know whether Redeem Team 2. But yeah, it's a little concerned, because LeBron at his age, what he had to do, it felt like they should have more stars to not have to do that. And for it to come down to that for LeBron, for them to go into the fourth quarter losing, and then LeBron to kind of take over. I liked it though. I like LeBron hitting the 3 and then saying, look, I'm bigger than you. I'm a bully. Let me do this. And maybe it's because his peers are around and he wants to show them who the alpha is. But I really like seeing him muscle up, and then him and Anthony Edwards kind of celebrate together. Like, that was cool to see. So yeah, I'm very excited to see the end result of this, but I'm a little concerned. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think that there's probably another level to this where Team USA can turn it up a notch when the games matter. Again, these games didn't necessarily matter, even though they were. Everyone was trying really hard. I don't think they were being lackadaisical. But we found out who's taking the final shot. Right, it's LeBron. I didn't know if we were going to find out how the end game would go, and it looks like it's LeBron hulking up and doing his thing. Also, did you see the run out dunk by Ant yesterday off the?
I didn't.
Oh, it was sweet. Embiid had a block, so Ant got the rebound and then took it coast to coast and juked out like two guys and then skied in for the finish. Probably the best Ant highlight I've seen so far.
Okay.
But I haven't watched the games wire to wire, so I haven't really seen the flow that much. I'll be dialed in July 28th for that first Olympic game against Serbia. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be. I think the biggest thing is, they can't let it come down to the wire because there's only so long that's going to last where you keep coming down to the end. But I'm excited to watch this because you put that group of guys together. Again, you see Steph Curry and Edwards, LeBron on the floor at the same time. It just showed how good they could be. Like Steph Curry getting the steal and then hitting the deep three. Like it's magical to see. And I know for Ant Edwards too, it's teaching him a little something to come back to his team. Like, yo, this is what we should do. This is how we, move the ball around. This is, how we can do X, Y, Z, man. This is something LeBron showed me. Like he's learning a lot from these veterans, but they're also learning from him as well to see like, this is what a young gun looks like. But him being able to do that, I think that's going to be cool for him to bring that back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I'm Ron Johnson, Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys for joining us today on the Ron Johnson Show. Make sure you subscribe again. Subscribe on YouTube. Go to Locked On Sports Minnesota, search that on your YouTube feed and hit subscribe. And we'll be back next week, of course. We'll try to get a player. We know training camp's going to be going. We'll be a couple days into training camp, so we have a little bit better feel. And looking forward to reporting about what we've seen at training camp. But I'm Ron Johnson and Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys. Have a great day.